Good morning, Sarah Martin. Thank you for joining us here at Yellow Shelf.
Good morning, Jay. Thanks for having me.
It is an absolute pleasure. Your book, Dear Psychosis, with a comma, is out. It's been out for a while, but I'm really grateful that you're talking to Yellow Shelf now because I read this book as an ebook. I just shared with you how profound the story and the journey is. But Sarah, this is your opportunity. What does the Yellow Shelf audience need to know about your, your family book, your journey book?
So, Dear Psychosis is a narrative nonfiction, and the reason why I wrote it is just an aside. I'm a nurse. I'm touchy feely. I'm not a writer. I'm not someone who wants to get out there. But in 2015, our daughter suffered psychosis while traveling alone in Istanbul, or and we knew nothing about mental health. We didn't have mental health in our family. Hey, mental health's not with us. We don't have it. What? What? So sweep under the carpet. And I went looking for anything that would help us.
Yeah.
And I found nothing. I could find a few books by celebrities,
Okay.
but I could find nothing by someone like me.
Yeah.
So I started thinking I could write an article.
Yep.
And then I realized I had too much for an article, but not enough for a book.
Yeah.
And so we have broken the silence and stigma of mental health in the biggest and loudest possible way we could by writing the book. It's written by me, and then by Alice, is my daughter who suffered psychosis, and my son who came across with me to collect Alice and find her from Istanbul. So that's our why. And I feel so grateful. It's probably the most terrifying but proud thing that we've ever done as a family,
Mm.
because when mental health, as I say, it waltzed in our door, unwelcome and uninvited, sat at our table, sat at the TV, sat in the bathroom, sat everywhere with us,
Yeah.
and we didn't know what to do. So now we welcome mental health into our house,
Yeah.
and we've embraced it.
Yeah.
And we are very lucky in that Alice is doing really well now. She's an amazing girl, but I needed to know that I wasn't alone
Yeah.
as a carer, as a mother, as a friend or a colleague. It's always nice to know that you're not alone.
Yeah. And look, and I know I just shared with you, I think when I've known of people who have been, as a family, been broken open with whatever mental health has, been presented, it is an incredibly confronting, um, journey to go through the emotions. But like you were saying, to kind of accept and protect and embrace and get through those stages that, yeah, when you're going through it or when you're first presented with it, you just don't know where to go, what to do, where to turn.
Mental health is so silent. And the reason why it's silent is that how can you out a loved one or
Yeah.
a friend or a colleague by saying that you have mental health, but they're not admitting it themselves? So families remain silent. And that's why there's not such a big other chronic illnesses we hear about a lot. Diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease. We hear about cancers. We hear about them a lot. But because mental health is so scary, and by outing someone, are they going to lose their job?
Yeah.
Are they going to lose their friends? Are people going to be worried that they can catch it?
Yeah.
There's so many things with mental health that I think that the only way to break it was by going big, and we've certainly
Yeah.
done.
And look, the book does that incredible. I think, it is fair to say, Sarah, your daughter experienced her first, do we call it episode, in a foreign country. So there's this story of you having to travel there, of getting the message that you needed to travel there. And, I acknowledged you when I read the book. It's an incredible journey as a family, as Alice, but I did acknowledge I felt there was a beauty in the book with stories of how your family supported Alice, you supported each other, and how Alice was supported initially in Istanbul. Do you want to just quickly talk about that?
Yeah.
Because I think that's just beautiful.
So I received a message from a stranger. I was at a nursing conference called Wellness for Life,
Oh,
and
wow.
I received a friend request from Facebook, and I just went scammer, scammer, scammer,
Okay.
scammer, and ignored it. A couple of hours later, I then look on my messenger, and there's a friend request there,
Wow.
and my heart starts beating, pounding actually. I looked around, I thought everybody else could hear it
Yeah.
because I just knew. I knew that it was about it. I just knew. And I open it up, and the person says, I'm a friend of Alice's. I think she's having some sort of mental health crisis. And it ends up to be that this man is a Syrian refugee displaced from his own home,
Yeah.
who he and Alice are having a romance.
Yes.
And he's not pushed her out the door when she started to have psychotic thoughts and very strange behavior.
Yeah.
But this message, I'm still thinking, is it a scam? I don't know any of the backstory. So I'm like, oh,
Oh,
right,
sure.
this is
Yeah.
bad. This is not
Yeah.
good. Within 24 hours, my son and I are on a plane, and
Yeah.
fortunately, he could come with me. And fortunately, my parents gave us the money so that both of us could fly across. And the reason why I say fortunate is because when you get over there to the unknown,
Yeah.
and unknowingly, we're bringing back a psychotic
Wow.
girl
Yeah.
who can't be by herself. And going back to the Syrian refugees, if they hadn't have kept her safe, we would never, ever have found her. We would never have seen her again.
Wow.
And they will always have a seat and a bed at our
Yes.
house.
Oh,
I love them immensely, and
yeah.
especially Hussein.
Yes.
But then we have to get her home and to care and
Yeah.
to mental health care.
Yeah.
And that's what the book is about. It's about our
Yes.
journey, a journey of hope and love, and a family trying to rally around mental health for the very first time. And we became silent. And
Yeah.
that's why I keep hanging on to the breaking of the silence, because it was so quiet and I
Yeah.
had nowhere to go. And I asked, where do I go? But back in 2015, there would have been saying, there would have been the Black Dog Institute, but nobody knew then. Nobody
Yeah.
told me, the nurses, the doctors.
Yes.
No, it's all for the person going through mental health, which is fine.
Yeah.
But we need to know as carers and loved ones what we do, where we go. This is not a self-help book. It
Yeah.
is our journey,
No, true. Yeah.
and it is saying the things that we did right and we did wrong, but in a narrative experienced way. Mm.
And Sarah, what I took away was, as a family, there were times where it was a coping mechanism just to get through, parts of the journey. But yeah, when you started to seek an external support, there was nothing. And I think that's what I really loved about the book, that yeah, you just decided to open it up as a story for others. It's your story, your family
Yeah,
story, but
yeah.
you've opened this book up for others, which is incredible.
Well, it's pretty lonely, and you've got to go through grief. There's the grief of not knowing, of will your child or husband be able to do this again? Will they be able to work? Will they ever live out of home? Will
Yeah.
their friends stick by them? There's so many unknowns and so much grief that you go through, that it you need something to ground you,
Yeah.
something and someone to ground you.
And Sarah, you mentioned you're a nurse. You mentioned, is this your first book, whether it's a fiction or non-fiction? Yeah,
Yes.
like what was that process like? I'm wondering if you don't mind touching on that. Being writing, like you said, you started
Mhm.
to write as either a blog or a journal, and then you've got this book, or this book's evolving. How is that?
So it was an amazing experience, but when it came to actually pitching it,
Yeah.
I pitched to 4 publishers and 2 went, great, we'll read it.
Yep.
And then one of them came back to me and said, this is a great book, but I can't sell it. And I was like, why? And he said, how many followers do you have on Instagram? How many followers do you
Oh,
have on
no.
Facebook?
Yeah.
And I went, oh, I've got 250 family and friends. And he went, I can't sell it.
Yeah.
And he said, you are no one. And I went, I am someone. I didn't say that to
No,
him.
no. Yeah.
About a week later, I went, I'm someone. I'm going to publish this. And we self-published it because
Fabulous.
we all deserve to be heard. And it doesn't matter who you are. Mental
Yeah.
health can come knocking at your door anytime, any place.
And it will, like you and I
Mm.
talked before we came on camera, this this may not be happening now to someone, but it will happen to someone or someone we know or someone in our workplace. So that's the reality of this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And Sarah, yeah, like I'm just gonna ask you, you're a nurse. What else do we need to know about you, Sarah? I just love you to share something about you. Is there something we need to know about you? You said you're a mother. Tell us about you.
Yeah, well, I'm a SANE peer ambassador now.
Ah,
I love baking sourdough. I'm a COVID sourdough baker.
ah,
I have 2 cats and a Dalmatian.
beautiful.
So that's and I am writing a fiction book, but
Oh,
whether it actually gets out into the ether, a cozy crime,
okay.
cozy mystery, but whether it actually gets out there, I don't know. But I became hooked on writing after doing the first one. But
Wow. Well, do you know what? If that book becomes reality, you are always welcome back on Yellow Shelf.
thanks,
I would love
Flo.
to continue to support. Sarah, just finally, the book, Dear Psychosis with the comma, is out. Where can we get it? Where can we connect with you? Like, there'll be people watching all around the world. This,
So
where do we go?
I'd love you to come to my website first, and
Okay.
that's Sarah, Sarah, Martin, author.
Yes. Okay.
So come to that. You
Yep.
can purchase the book on Amazon and Apple,
Sure.
but I'd love to connect with you from my website too. So you can always contact me that way too. But love it.
Oh,
Love if you
I
could
will
read
put that
it
in the
and
show
give
notes.
feedback too. It's so
Yeah.
important to
And
do that.
I'm sure people like message you and say, "Hey, this happened to me, and I had nowhere to go," or "Thanks for," like I just know that there would be people. But Sarah, I will put your website in the show notes to make it really easy for people to go to. Sarah, thank you so much for writing this. Thank you for talking to Yellow Shelf today. And I'm sure everyone watching will know when you talk about this, you do light up because it's obviously been a journey, but just you ooze with the passion to share this story. So congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Cheers.